Hello everyone, welcome back to MixbusTv. Hope you're having a great day and welcome to another rapid fire Q&A. I know you guys like this series so much, but remember, I need your questions to keep it going, so go crazy in the comment. Before we start, check the info box down below for my mixing courses and a bunch of discounts and special offers on plugin. This is the question of the day. This one comes from Gary Roberts. Appreciate your work. Could you explain why you compress missing the vocals on the way in? Why not allow a little more headroom? All right, this is a good question. It was in response to another video that I did in which someone asked me if I EQ'd and compressed the vocals on the way in, what was my favorite gear and so on. And I said, I don't EQ, I compress. So let's explain why I do compress vocals on the way in. There are different factors, and the most important for me might not be the one that everybody think of, which is having an already dynamic controlled vocals, getting ahead of the mixing stage somehow. No, the most important reason for me to compress vocals on the way in is to get a better performance out of the singer. I can tell that 99% of the singers, they just perform better when they can hear their vocals compressed already, if it's compressed right. So I don't only compress, I make sure that I feed the singer the compressed signal in their headphones. That's for me the main reason to compress, because they can push as hard as they feel like without their level of their vocals going too high in their headphones. They can go as low as they want without losing their vocal in the headphones. That's of utmost importance for me, and I noticed for the singers to perform better. So that's the main reason for me. It really helps any singer that I worked with. I cannot think of one. Not that a singer cannot sing without compression, of course. They just do it better. They just deliver a better performance, because especially when they go very low and they maybe sing an intimate part, and you know, I'm very used to this with Bella because she's like that most of the time. When they go really low or really quiet, if they can't hear themselves, they tend to up the volume, up their output, and it's not the same. If a part needs to be sang at a low level, almost whispered and something like that, that's the way they should sing it. They shouldn't be forced to push more volume and air just to hear themselves. So more than for the high parts, it's for the low level material, it's for the low level parts that I see the difference. They can go really quiet, they can step away from the mic a little bit, even though I'm not a fan of what people call work the mic, you know, step back when you go high, or output a lot more and go closer when you're low, when you sing a lower part. I'm not a fan of that at all. A singer should be able to keep his position or her position and be able to sing at different levels without you clipping, without you losing the signal. And then if they want to step away or get closer, it's for artistic reasons. So if a singer steps in, it's because they want, whether or not they realize it, they want the proximity effect, okay? Even if they're not aware of it technically, they hear that something changes in their vocals. When they get closer, the vocal sound get warmer and bigger because the proximity effect. If they have that in mind and they do it instinctively, that's an artistic choice. They shouldn't be forced to change their performance, otherwise you clip, or otherwise you have a too low of a signal and it's, you know, interferes with the noise floor. That's not how it should be. A singer should be completely free to express himself or herself, regardless that. And I feel compression it does exactly that. It just gives you a way more solid and steady level for the singer to do whatever they feel like, and they deliver just a better performance overall. So that's my first reason. Of course, compressing on the way in is not easy to set up the compressor, and because if you mess up, you mess up big. If you have a too slow of a release, you eat up bits and pieces. Instead of bringing up the details, you choke it, If the attack is too fast, you lose the punch. You lose, maybe if it's a rap vocals or a rock vocals, you lose how piercing that could be in a good way, as in cutting through the mix. So you need to pay attention. If it's too high of a ratio, when the singer goes up, it gets lower in level than the lower part. That happens too, and that's a nightmare to fix. What other problem? If it's too low a threshold, you compress all the time, even the lower part, when instead what you're trying to do in those cases is leveling the higher parts with the lower part. So the compressor in the lower parts shouldn't be working at all, or maybe just touch it, because you want to bring up those low level words and parts. So these are the main things when setting a compressor for a singer on the way in. Of course, threshold, ratio, attack and release, that's the most important. Side chain, if you have one, especially if the singer moves a lot and you have like close to closer, so there's a lot of bottom end, you might want to use a low pass filter. What else? One very, very important thing. That's why I hope my series on compressors, the new ultimate guide that I'm doing, will help people, because one of the most important thing on the way in is choosing the right type of compressor and the right model. Because you use an LA2A on the way in instead of an 1176 when you should have, that's gonna be hell, okay? No matter how you set, especially an LA2A, because got no settings. Sure, the LA2A is like a foolproof compressor, but again, when I compress a vocal on the way in, it's not 1 dB, okay? It's usually something between 8 to 12 or 6 to 10 at the highest peaks, of course. So it's a hefty amount of gain reduction, because otherwise there's no point, okay? So it's not really a matter of sound, it's a matter of performance. And again, I want to stress this, the working the mic in studio, for me, it's not what people seem to profess. I don't like that. The singer should work the mic for artistic purposes, not to auto mix himself or herself because the gain staging is tricky. Another reason for compressing on the way in, some preamps, tubes, but also transformer bass like API, I want to be able to drive them hard because that's where I get more color. So if I feed them into a compressor, and for example, the API doesn't have an output knob, not this version, there's a new version that has it, but some preamps don't have an output knob. So if you feed them in the converters, you're gonna have your hands tight, because if you push it maybe where the color is right, you're hitting the converters too high. And if you don't do that, you're not gonna get the color out of it. So feeding the preamps instead of a compressor, you have a lot more headroom to play with the gain, to play with the color, to play with the saturation, and then you regain stage everything after the compressor, because of course good analog machines have a lot more headroom than converters. Okay, they're way less sensitive to higher level. They actually work well. So that's another reason you can work your preamps a lot better. And lastly, yes, of course, you have an already dynamically controlled performance. And when you're experienced enough, at least I can get it. I can get a vocal to be 90% mix ready when I compress on the way in. I will not advise anyone to do that or shoot for that if you are not really, really familiar with your gear, with the singer, and with setting up a compressor. Because like I said at the beginning, the risk is you're gonna ruin the performance, and you can always split the signals if you wanna try and still record a clean version, but don't shoot for that amount of gain reduction that I do after so many years if you're just at the beginning, okay? Experiment first. The other reason is, again, because for me, it's still different to compress on the way in than to compress after the fact. And this is a combination of all the things that I just said, just result in that. So preamps, gain staging, performance, everything, confidence. They just give you at the end of the recording a dynamically controlled file that it's basically almost mix ready. But if you're not too experienced, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't use it. Anyway, you should be afraid. Just limit your compression to 2 to 4 dB in that case, and shoot for settings that are not gonna, maybe they're not the best, but they're not gonna hurt the performance. So let's say a release around 50 milliseconds is usually pretty safe on vocal. An attack around 10 milliseconds to 20, it's a safe place to start. And a ratio between 2 to 4 or even 1.5 wouldn't go more than 4 ratio, and a threshold and low enough that you compress not more than 2 to 4. My way is a lot more heavy-handed, like I said, but I've been doing this for a while. So these are basically the main reasons. And again, I want to stress this, picking up the right compressor for a given singer on the way in is absolutely important. You pick first what topology, you want a FET, you want a VCA, you want an opto, what model, okay, what style. So I'm just giving you general guidelines here. And what I like. For rep vocals, I usually like FET compressors. Okay, for rep vocals, my go-to, we said, is the Mimas 1176 style. DBX style is amazing. Also, the diode bridge, the successor, I tried on vocals, is great, just because this one has so many options for attack and release and sidechain. Others will not have that. For ballads and more relaxed vocals, of course, the choice is the opto. Those two are usually the most used on vocals on the way in. I don't think I track anything with VCA on vocals. I might miss something right now, but I don't think so. But yeah, these are my reasons to compress the vocals on the way in. And like I said in the other video, I don't EQ if not for filters. And this is it for this video. This was a rapid Q&A, so we'll keep it short. I hope this video was useful. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. Drop your questions in the comment down below. And remember, if my videos are helping you guys, you can now support MixbusTv directly here on YouTube. No need to go anywhere else by clicking the join button down here, becoming a MixbusTv member, and access, most importantly, exclusive content like exclusive posts, exclusive videos, live chats, and also mix consultations. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.